Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
I would like to discuss everything going on with the whole Brittney Griner situation now that it's come to some sort of resolution. Now, for those that don't know, Brittney Griner is a WNBA star. She's very high up there in talent. And she was playing in the off-season in Russia because, unfortunately, WNBA players don't make a lot of money. Because if you ask Bill Burr, who's correct 1,000%, it's not fucking interesting to watch women shoot layups and three-pointers.
Not by some standards, right?
Unless they're going to lower the fucking rim to like 8 feet and more of them can start dunking. That shit's never going to be like the NBA.
I thought a few of them could dunk.
A few?
Like
Griner, one 4 of them? Yes. She's one of them because she's huge. Yeah. But anyways, she's making money playing in a pro league in another country in the offseason, which a ton of them do. Lindsay Whalen used to do it all the fucking time.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Now, Brittney Griner was playing in Russia, which to me is a really bad idea.
It's interesting that Russia, of all places, has a pro-women's basketball league.
They're big on sports. It's goofy like that because for all the old school communist women stay in the kitchen, shut the fuck up, don't be heard mentality, you know, there's sports galore there.
Well, remember in the Olympics, because it was always male and female kind of equal sports, they always would compete, and a lot of their women did look like men. But
yeah, no shit.
That in the East German team.
Yeah. So anyways, what happened with Brittney was she was in the airport, and they searched her bags, and there was apparently some hashish oil in her luggage at the airport near Moscow. And she tried to say, hey, I have a doctor's note for this. This is prescribed to me. I don't know if it's for anxiety, depression, whatever the fuck she's got it for. They don't allow that shit there.
Right. They don't observe some other country's prescription. Why would they?
Well, they don't observe a lot of common sense either. Oh, yeah. So she was detained and then found guilty, and then she's been sitting in the clink for like 10 months. And they're saying she's not getting light, she's not getting exercise, she's morbidly depressed. They're worried she's going to die. Like, she's married, and her wife's like, oh my God, please do something about this to Biden, which he did. He got her freed in a prisoner exchange for a gentleman that is known as the Merchant of Death.
Now, my question was there anybody else included, or was it just a one-for-one swap? Because I had heard there was like another gentleman that was supposed to be part of this trade originally.
Yes, his last name is Whalen, and he's a former Marine, and he's been detained for a couple years. And if you ask his brother, Donald Trump didn't give a shit and didn't try to get him out of there, because Donald Trump wasn't going to trade the Merchant of Death under any circumstances. However, people that were a part of his defense ministry cabinet came out and said, yeah, he was not at all interested in trading for that former Marine. So he just sat there.
I thought he was going to be on good terms with Putin. Couldn't he have just chummied up to him and said, hey, give us this guy back?
That's the funny thing about Trump. He thinks he's buddies with Putin.
Yeah.
But Putin's a Russian. Trump's an American. There's always that love, hate, secretly going to fucking stab you in the back mindset coming out of those commie bastards. At least my assumption is. I don't trust Putin any further than I could fucking throw him.
I think the love was definitely one-sided in that relationship, without a doubt. I mean,
yes.
It was not reciprocated. It was... what can I use you for?
In his hilariously mid-range voice, Putin probably regularly jokes about how the Donald fawns over him and talks about, oh, well, I wish I could do something about my political dissidents like you do. Which, if you're going to be honest, Trump Tards is your guy, the Orange Emperor, loves the idea of dictatorship. And he basically wants to be the king of America.
With his latest claims to abolish all constitutional rules and whatnot to reinstate him. Oh, yeah.
He just says some weird shit. He's like the uncle that just won't shut the fuck up at Thanksgiving. And by the end of the meal, everyone's like, we don't need to see you for a whole nother year.
It's amazing how history repeats itself. I read an article about how Teddy Roosevelt basically split the Republican Party back in the early 1900s, and I think it was Wilson got in instead. And Trump's probably going to end up doing the same to his own party. I mean...
Yeah. So Trump's like, hey, I tried to get this guy, but I also wasn't going to trade for the Merchant of Death because he's a terrible person. I'm not going to do that. So you're getting these wishy-washy messages, and the guy's own family is like, nah, Trump didn't give a shit. And Biden tried to get them both. Both Mr. Whelan, the former Marine, and Brittney Griner. But for some reason, he ended up pulling off a 1-for-1. And I get why, to some extent, because the Marine is hardened. He knows how to handle it. He's a man. Now, that's not to say he might not be beaten, stabbed, raped. It's prison and it's Russia and it's fucking ugly over there. But if you're a female, not to mention a black female, who's a lesbian, and you're over there, and you're famous, dude, she had way more opportunity to become a victim than he would have, I would think.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that logic. Yeah.
A worse comes to worse, Mr. Whelan would say, hey, Ivan Drago got screwed. Let's play chess, boys. Right. I just think he could handle himself and detainment a lot better, especially with the age gap. I think he's in his 50s or 60s, and she's like 20-some. Let me fact check that.
Late 20s, I believe.
He's 52. Brittney Griner is 32 and 6'9".
Jesus,
that's a huge bitch.
I mean, holy cow.
That being stated, back to the Merchant of Death, whose name is Viktor Bout, I believe it's pronounced, and he's an international arms dealer. He was extradited from Thailand to the U.S. in 2010 after a sting operation by the U.S. DEA 2 years earlier. Agents posed as potential buyers from the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, known as FARC, terrible name. That group, which has since disbanded, was classified as a terrorist organization by the United States government. He claimed he was simply an entrepreneur with a legitimate international transport business, wrongly accused of trying to arm South American rebels, the victims of U.S. political machinations. But a jury in New York didn't believe his story, and he was sentenced to 25 years in prison in April 2012. Found guilty of conspiracy to kill Americans and U.S. officials, delivering anti-aircraft missiles, and aiding a terrorist organization. Jesus Christ. So a 3-week trial came out that the weapons he would sell would be used to kill U.S. pilots working with Colombian officials. Mother of God. So anyways, he's a bad guy. And what was the name of that Nicolas Cage movie where he sold guns? What was that fucking movie called? You remember?
God, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I can actually see the trailer.
Lord of War.
Lord of War. That was it. Yep.
So when you hear about Viktor Bout, you're like, oh, fuck. He's one of those types. He goes around and he sells whatever he's got to whoever the highest bidder is. He's a bad dude to have on the outs. Which is why I would see the point of Trump saying, I don't want him free.
That is correct.
I wasn't there. I don't know what the Donald did or didn't say, or did or did not think about the whole process. But if the guy's family, the detainee's family, is saying he didn't care, and cabinet members are saying he didn't care, and the fucking guy was there for 2 years worth of Trump's fucking presidency and he wasn't freed, you have to wonder what the fuck is up. Now, we trade Brittney Griner. She sees him on the tarmac. He shakes her hand and wishes her luck. People are like, what the fuck is that? He's like, it's our tradition. No matter if somebody is someone you know or you don't know, and our culture and our customs is you wish them luck, goodwill to others. Cool. Don't think you're reformed, and wouldn't be shocked if you find your way to selling guns again to some sort of militia or terrorist organization. Who fucking knows? But everybody, and by everybody I mean people on the right, are super pissed that we let this Merchant of Death guy go. I get why we traded for Brittney Griner. She's an American, not just because she's an athlete. I see it more as she's a woman. She's much more vulnerable. It's important to bring her home.
Well, and it was a screw job, too. I mean, let's be honest with you. It seems like it was set up. They wanted to take somebody kind of high profile.
You would think that maybe, what if this was the plan is, hey, maybe she's somebody that's of a high enough caliber of fame that we can trade her for him. We finally have enough clout to get Viktor Bout. That rhymed. I'm like Dr. Seuss now.
Right in time for the holidays. Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think the prosecution success rate in Russia is like 93%, if not higher.
Right. Yeah, there's not much for the
due process
defendant.
at all.
No.
But I have to say, I believe she did have something. I don't think it was just, oh my God, how did that get there? Because
Right.
for her to say I had a note for that shit.
Yeah, if she claimed she had a prescription, then that's one thing. But like you said, it still doesn't mean you can have it on you or it's okay to have it over there, right? It's their rules, their laws. Just because you got your porn legally in one country doesn't mean you can go to another country and look at it or carry it around or sell it.
Yeah. I just think that it's kind of her own fault to some degree.
Right.
So when she got locked up and I heard why, I'm like, you're fucking dumb. I get why you're going there to make money, but it's money. I know you want to play. I don't know. Clamor to the WNBA to either raise pay or to start some sort of off-season league in North America where you ladies can earn more money. And like side hustles and sponsorship deals. I'm not saying they're not deserving. It's just not as good of a game to watch as the NBA.
One could actually make the argument, though, that that's America's problem, too, because they are more successful in other countries, in some Asian countries, European leagues, Russian leagues. You know
Australia.
what I mean? Exactly. It is something that's watchable in other countries. So it sounds like it's also an American problem where we just don't, we're not as invested in it because maybe the men's game is too high profile, comparatively out of balance. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I don't go Googling any female named dunk highlight reel, but you can look in my Google history and see Michael Jordan, Sean Kemp, Vince Carter, Shaquille O'Neal, all kinds of, mid to late 90s NBA players dunking the lights out.
Yeah.
I don't watch like Steph Curry's best three-point shots. No. I don't want to see that shit.
I'm a big fan of the Milwaukee Bucks, and right now they have player Giannis, who is absolutely incredible. He's a strong forward who just dominates and goes to the rim all the time. It's a great game to watch. I have fun watching basketball again, thanks to him.
Can you name anybody on the Minnesota Lynx? Because Simone Augustus retired.
Maya Mora's gone.
She's gone. Lindsey Whalen's retired and coaching the Lady Gophers.
That's the problem, is I do not know the current roster. You know, a few years back, there was some excitement, there was some buzz, and it's just, I don't hear it enough anymore. Maybe I just don't listen to enough sports radio enough anymore. I don't know.
That's the fucked up part, is they are the only team in town that's in a professional sports league that has brought home a championship since 91, right?
I believe you're right.
We haven't raised any Stanley Cups in the Wild's 22 years of existence. The Vikings are still not winning Super Bowls, and the Timberwolves are the fucking Timberwolves.
You think you have to go back to the Minneapolis Lakers, were the other team that basically won championships? Because you're right, the Vikings never have.
Yeah, they're 0-4 in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So you have the Twins in 91, and you have the Lynx with a dynasty.
Yep.
And people are like, it's not as popular. So then here's all the various dimensions to this whole story. Is it sucks for lady sports players to make money in America, so they go across seas where the customs and the culture are different, and they risk all kinds of grifts and being ripped off and being jailed for shit like this, being kidnapped and held for ransom.
Well, you know, it's one thing to get caught, say busted with this. It's another thing for them to have an exorbitant punishment for the infraction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Seriously.
Yeah, she was facing a couple of years, I believe, 2 years, I think.
I heard it was 9.
God, was it really? Let me see. Okay, 9-year prison sentence. There we go. Yeah, you were spot on. But that Paul Whelan guy, he was accused of being a covert CIA operative spying on Russia because of his multinational citizenship.
I forget what the story was, why he was there, or what he got, like, was he just on vacation? I forget what he was doing.
Why was Paul Whelan in Russia to begin with? It's a popular one. It came up. Whelan's twin brother David said that Paul arrived in Moscow on December 22nd to attend the wedding of a former fellow Marine at the Hotel Metropole Moscow and to assist the groom's family members on their first visit to Russia, a country he had visited many times. No. Fucking no. You couldn't pay me enough money to go to Russia, even if I knew I would get to meet both Little Big and DLB, who are two of my favorite Russian music acts. I don't care if I get to have lunch with goddamn Alexander Ovechkin. No.
Really? Not if he could personally vouch for your safety?
Fucking no.
Come on, he's a god over there.
I'm sure he is. And I used to joke years ago about Pavel Datsyuk. If you remember when the Red Wings were in their heyday, I'd say Zetterberg and Datsyuk can go anywhere in Detroit, and they're constantly just getting mobbed by women. But when they go back to Russia, oh my God, it's just their dicks are constantly in mouths.
Yep, supermodels too.
He goes to the drugstore. Oh, I'm getting blown while I'm waiting in line to ring up my stuff. Oh, you're at the doctor? Well, the nurse is coming to check your blood pressure and suck your cock because you're Pavel fucking Datsyuk. They're gods over there. Yep. Hockey players are like, in Russia, the equivalent to Roman gladiators.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't give a shit. You can vouch for me all you fucking want. Dolph Lundgren could personally escort me to dinner, but I want nothing to do with communism or the possibility of ending up in the gulag, because they are going to have so much fun with my asshole.
You got to admit, there's got to be certain areas of the world where you just wouldn't want to go anyway, right? Like
the entire Middle East,
right?
The entire Middle East, 95% of Africa.
I go more like 70-75%, because there's some areas I think would be pretty interesting to visit.
Johannesburg would be awesome, but I don't want to go to South Africa.
The whole island of Madagascar is in Africa. I mean, that's a pretty cool place.
Yeah, until I get fucking killed by like a sloth.
It's like all those ringtail lemurs and shit there. They got like...
No, I die some way that makes no fucking sense. Like a sloth slowly sneaks up on me when I'm taking a nap in a hammock and fucking uses its claw to rip my throat. Oh, you're going for the finger at my butt angle?
Exactly. And what would be it would be a slow death, because there would be some weird bacteria on the tip of that claw that would implant in your ass or something like that, or from the puncture wound you'd get.
It's funny. There's some guy, John Mongrel, who was a prisoner in South Africa, and he talked about something called the slow poke. That's where they hold you down, they use a knife or something to cut the inside of your rectum, and then somebody with HIV rapes you. And you die a slow death from HIV to AIDS. The slow poke. So it's kind of akin to what you're talking about.
Oh, God, just the visual of that is like... Ooh.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Like, ow, you cut my butt. Oh, and now there's a dick in me. Oh, I can feel the warmth of your ejaculate. Oh, now I have the flu. Oh, we know what that means.
I can't imagine the whole AIDS cocktails over there are as good as they are here.
Yeah.
They're not Magic Johnson style.
So like I was saying to the Dimensions, obviously we covered the Griner angle. She's making money. She's over there. She's somewhat of a celebrity. She fucks up. They take away her rights and they jail her. Miserable. You got the Marine that's over there that had no business going over there. I'm sure he felt comfortable, but fuck that. No.
Well, I mean, and that's what they say, it was a wedding too. Because if he was an actual spy, that's a good cover story. But anyway.
It is. And then, of course, you got this Viktor Bout merchant of death who Russia's been trying to get back for 12 years. God knows what he was doing before. Multiple foreign governments want this guy dead. So it's just like the lefties are like, save our person. And the righties are like, fuck you, freedom. Don't send this commie prick back so he can hurt more Americans.
Right.
America.
Yep.
And then, of course, Trump's playing Biden. Biden's like, fuck you, I did it. You didn't do shit. Kind of like with that whole Afghanistan pullout thing, where Trump made a bad fucking deal with their government for the Taliban to like get
Committed.
out.
Yeah.
And then he was gone, and Biden's like, well, I don't want to be a dickhole, so I guess I'm just going to uphold it. And then it didn't go well, and everyone's like, oh, fuck you, Uncle Joe. You didn't know what you're doing because you're demented. You fucked it. Well, it's Donald's fucking idiotic deal. So again, like government and sports fans and liberals and lesbians, because she is one, and commies, and Putin, who's probably somewhere shirtless on a horse, dreaming about playing in a celebrity hockey game and scoring 11 goals.
We can all see it right now.
Yeah. It's just like, I get why we got her. I get why they wanted him. But at some point, you have to be like, hey, if you're going to go to a foreign country where we have had them as enemies in world wars, and especially the fucking 80s with the Cold War, you're fucked.
Well, and also given the current political climate, I'm pretty sure they had invaded Ukraine by then, right? This didn't just happen.
Well, she was in for 10 months, roughly. When did Russia...
I believe it was March.
Ukraine. 2022, because we don't want to mix it up with when they tried to take Crimea back.
February 24, so almost March, end of February.
Roughly about the same time. So maybe that was part of it, is they wanted him back and like, hey, he's going to get some sweet arms for us to take into Ukraine. I didn't think of that angle. I'm glad you brought that up. That's interesting. So celebrities, stay the fuck out of shitty foreign countries. I wouldn't, if I was anybody who was famous and playing like music. So you've got like Knotfest, Slipknot.
Oh, yeah.
Down in Mexico. No, thank you. And you're famous and you're going there. And there's cartels everywhere that pay off the cops and the army. And who knows how crooked the whole government is. It's all just, hey, we're stopping you because you look American and you don't sound like us. So give us money or you're going to jail.
I saw Man on Fire.
Yeah. Fuck all that shit.
I don't want to get kidnapped.
So again, hopefully we'll have some sort of CIA mole in the Russian government that can get close to Viktor Bout and cap his ass and make this like, ha 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 ha, gotcha, bitch. One of those. I'm all for executing terrorists. I don't think if we would have put this guy down for any reason, if he would have been like mysteriously killed while in custody, I don't think it's going to start World War III. Putin's got his eyes on bigger shit like the Ukraine.
It's a little late for that, though. You know, he's already back in their hands.
Yeah. So
Time
who knows?
for accidents are over.
So moral of the story, take care of Americans and bring them home if they're afar, but also don't go afar. And one thing I wanted to bring up, and I forgot until just this moment. Do you remember back in 2009 when 3 fucking hikers somehow crossed over the border from Iraq into Iran and were detained? It was 2 dudes and a chick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and they were being held as spies, too.
Yeah. Okay, so basically what happened was they eventually gave bail to the chick, and she left, right? And I was talking to other Neil about this the other day, how hilarious it had to be for her, knowing that they're letting her out on bail and expecting her to come back for a trial that she's not fucking coming back.
Yeah, especially in Iran and as a woman.
Yeah, like, okay, so she's on the tarmac and we're waving goodbye. And as she's saying, you know, oh, see you later, she flips me the bird. I don't know what does she mean. I don't get why she does that. When she comes back, I'm going to pistol whip that bitch. I'm going to break all of her teeth out of her mouth, and then I'm going to skull fuck her. So joke's on you when you get back there, little Miss Middlefinger. You know, fast forward to the day of the trial. Where is this bitch? Why is she not show up? She's fucking late. She's making a mockery of the whole process. It's fucking ridiculous.
You don't say.
And then the 2 guys eventually got freed. I don't remember how. They were also granted bail. And I don't know if they're just like fugitives from justice in Iran.
They have to know if that was bail or if it was contingent on them coming back. But that's never going to happen.
Like, how fucking stupid are you?
You can convict us from afar, and yeah, good luck. We'll just not come back.
The next time that you come to Iran, we're going to put you to death. We're going to hang you in the public square and make a spectacle of your death. And everyone's going to laugh and point and take pictures of your dead body. And we're going to piss on American flags. So when we see you, the joke's on you, motherfuckers.
Only now take that, fast forward to 13 years later, and it's a Big Bird-sized lesbian basketball player. Like, I have anxiety and I need hashish oil, and oh my God, this jail cell is not made for people my size, and I haven't seen the sun, and please don't let any Russian female prison guards with giant clits that are more like little dicks come in here and try to do stuff to me.
Do you have this fantasy in your head, or just vision in your head that it's all female guards?
It's probably not. It should be. Right. It should be, but it's not. And if you want to look at what it's like in Russian prison and believe what you see in movies, watch Jean-Claude Van Damme's movie In Hell. Yeah, it's his second movie about being incarcerated. The other one was Death Warrant.
That one, okay.
Very cheesy. But he hit this stride in the mid-aughts where he made a bunch of movies that were more dramatic, and like I thought they were really fucking good, which is not saying much because I'm a huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. But really, though, In Hell is a great movie. And I guess if you want to see anything else related to Russian prisons, maybe watch Boyka with Scott Adkins. He plays Yuri Boyka.
Okay.
And he fights this monster that they take out of prison. And that's my take on Brittney Griner. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
And that's the end.